Welcome to Pitch in the Zone, our weekly gathering of coaches that help one presenter with a 3-minute pitch. The coaches include Nathan Gold, hailing from San Francisco. He specializes in high-stakes presentation coaching. We have Scotty Spurzum, also from San Francisco. Her focus is on language and accent reduction. Michael Marchak from Chicago, a CTO, author, speaker, and all-around great guy. And then we have Massimo Peroncelli joining us from Thailand. He is a serial entrepreneur and also will double as our timer today. And finally, Rick Pollack from Massachusetts, also a presentation skills trainer. He has coached many people, including TEDx speakers. And our presenter for today is almost part of our family, Scott Peak from Groups Linked Up. Scott, welcome back to Pitch in the Zone. You pretty much know the drill. Just before we start, who is your target audience?
Target audience would be foundations.
Foundations. All right. So your intended audience, foundations, we will put on the appropriate hats. Scott, if you want to get ready with your screen share, and then once you set up, simply dive in and Massimo will start the timer when you start talking. All right.
Groups Linked Up is a newly established nonprofit, and it will change how organizations connect with each other for amazing results. There are so many organizations, civic groups like Rotary, Kiwanis, Toastmasters, and new groups like high school STEM or college entrepreneurial clubs. Some of them have been around for a long time, and they provide service to communities and individuals. Years ago, I was a member of a Kiwanis club, and we'd had a fundraiser to donate the Jaws of Life for the fire department. I had no idea at that time my wife would be the first one to benefit from that donation. Fortunately, she was removed safely from the car and recovered from her injuries. I was in that car as well, and I woke up in the hospital talking to the fire chief about using that tool for the first time. I'll never forget that Kiwanis Club and the amazing impact it had on our family and the community. But organizations like the Kiwanis are struggling to survive and attract new members and stay relevant. And that's where Groups Linked In comes in. We can provide the benefits of connecting with organizations for amazing results. Transformational changes in how members are recruited. And the group connections is the essence of this program. Take the college entrepreneur clubs. They can network with each other, share ideas on how they can improve. The Toastmasters can come in and also link in with them and provide members the benefits of that connection. Years ago, a local chapter of American Red Cross in Minnesota decided to partner with college students to market the upcoming blood drive. As a result, a 5-state record was shattered for the number of units donated in 1 week. I was a student chair of that marketing committee, and I witnessed firsthand the impact of groups linking up. Groups Linked Up will provide the technology and professional support to make these effective connections. Organizations may also benefit through coordinated insurance and software purchases. Foundation funding will allow Groups Linked Up to introduce this service to organizations. Our goal is to have 100,000 registered organizations by the end of the first year. I have the passion and the experience to make this happen. And I look forward to the next opportunity to talk to you about this opportunity. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Scott. I look forward to the opportunity to talk with you about the opportunity. All righty. So let's start with Scotty today. Scotty, what kind of feedback do you have for Scott?
There. Scott, I thought your opening was great. I mean, you're a very low key person, but I really like the way you have taken a lot of advice that you've been given. I found it much more engaging. And while you spent quite a bit of time talking about the background of it, I thought that was fine. I think it was halfway through is when you sort of got to the problem, which I liked. I mean, I thought it really worked. I was really impressed with it. I think at the end, though, your ask needs to be a little bit more powerful. Do you want another meeting? Do you want money? I mean, you said you're going to foundation, so I'm assuming you're looking for grants or some sort of funding. And we didn't hear that. It was just, I look forward to the opportunity to speak with you. So it's hard not to repeat ourselves sometimes, but different words would work. And I look forward to you joining our team, or I would like to link up with you as a foundation who can support us going forward with something like that. I think would be more powerful. No, I thought it was a great improvement. Really, really good.
Thank you.
Thank you, Scotty. And I agree. It was nice and conversational. The beginning was good. However, you said something along the way that I think you could move way, way up, perhaps even as the first sentence. And that is groups like Kiwanis are struggling. And then go into your standard opening as you had it. And then you can actually double down on that one at the point that you have it right now. Moving on, Rick, what kind of feedback do you have for Scott?
Scott, I think it's much improved over some of the others. I do like you had a couple graphics at the opening where you showed all the different groups and kind of they're there and they're kind of overlapping a bit. I thought that was a good graphic to show that. I like that. I liked on your personal story, how you mentioned, and I think this is the first time you mentioned that you were in the car as well, because you've talked about it before and how, so that's good about why you have that passion. I think, with the comment that Claudio had a little bit more at the beginning of the groups are struggling. You had I think you mentioned LinkedIn instead of Linked Up. I think it was just probably because you're a bit nervous there. I think your energy dropped a little bit towards the end. I think you could have kept that higher energy throughout. One thing that I think you mentioned, I know you've used this picture, it's a picture of a young woman giving blood with a big smile. And you're talking about that, but I think you could just put some text over that or build over that of how much extra money the Red Cross raised. Because I just look at the picture, here's someone giving blood, but your point isn't the person giving blood. Your takeaway on that is how much the college students were able to help the Red Cross on that drive. So I think you can just put something in on top of that graphic, text on top of that, just to make sure that you're really stressing the benefits. I think, what it is, how it works, and your personal experience are all in there. The three things that you really need on the pitch. But I think what you really need to focus on a little bit more is on the benefits. Make sure that comes through a little bit more on your graphics and on, saying that these groups are struggling and here's how everyone together is going to help out. But I think it's really come a long way since you started out a few months ago, and I know it's going to be great.
Thank you.
Good job, Scott.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rick. And moving right along, Michael, you've heard this version or this pitch a few times. What did you think about this version and what kind of further feedback do you have for our friend Scott?
I agree with Rick. If I do a graph of where we're going, your energy kind of started waning as we went on, and so I'm like, where's your passion? Keep that passion in there. So because I know you're passionate about this stuff, that's why you're doing it. It's why you're involved in this. So I think there's a real need to keep that passion up, to keep the energy up. You talk about the struggling. Yeah, things are struggling, but groups linked up really helps these organizations pull together, come together, bring that into there. So you have we're struggling, but groups linked up, you make this transition in terms of how you're presenting yourself as like, well, gosh, we got the answer here. And the other thing that you kind of scooted by, which is a real big thing for organizations. You mentioned, oh, and we do insurances and some collective purchasing stuff, blah, blah, blah. And you kind of moved on from there. That's huge buying power for, bringing groups together. It's massive. I mean, you look at the buying power of some of the big box stores that they're able to buy massive quantities and get super discounts for people who are members, right? That's the kind of thing you need to bring out. This is not just helping them get funded. It also helps them operationally. It helps them from a bunch of other aspects to kind of layer on all the benefits of what you're providing. It's not simply just, hey, we're just like LinkedIn. It's way more than that, right? So you got to layer on those benefits to show them there's a differentiation, but it's also super beneficial for these organizations to be a part of this this network kind of group because of these other operational efficiencies. So. But yeah, I love the story, and I really want to see you, keep that energy in there so that people can really see you. Because again, I love when you're talking about it before we get recording, because you come across and it's so natural and it's easy and it's really conversational. And then when we get into the presentation, it's almost like you switch on the cardboard version of you to kind of go through stuff. And don't lose that. Don't lose that, because you really are a passionate guy, and I really want to see that come through so that you can provide that energy and give that energy to the people who are listening to you.
Very, very good, valuable feedback there, Michael. Thank you very much. And moving on, let me go to Jess. Jess, welcome back to Pitch in the Zone. I always appreciate your feedback. What do you have for Scott today?
Sure. Great job, Scott. I was actually on a call yesterday, and a woman who runs a networking organization needed exactly this. She wanted to get connected to sorority groups and other entrepreneurs to try and find new leaders. So I think it is definitely a needed service. My one question is, are you currently working with any groups?
I have talked to about 10 groups so far at different levels, just to get their essence of what they think I'm doing. And some of the clubs are talking that they want to be connected with younger people. They want to have a chance to explain what their groups can do. So there's some real interest out there. And I also have some foundation people that I've had phone conversations with that we're going to line up this particular presentation to them.
Okay, that's awesome. I think the examples that you shared in your presentation are really powerful, but they are from the past. So if there's any way you can start saying, okay, look what I'm doing right now on a very small scale before the technology is even built, that would be really impactful to share with the group. So I would try to incorporate some of that and go ahead and get moving and go from there.
Wow, very, very valuable feedback there, Jess. Thank you very much. And Massimo, what kind of feedback do you have? You've heard this pitch also a few times already. Go into details. We have enough time today.
Yes, thank you. Well, of course, first of all, congratulations. If somebody could have a look to your first pitch, and this one is really day and night. It's really totally. I remember myself, the very first speech, I'm being brutally honest, I didn't have a clue what you were talking about. But today, I could follow 100%, not because I knew you already, but because it was so way better. So congratulations on that. But sorry for the personal question. Did something happen to you today, something bad? Because you sounded sad, not happy. It was a sad tone to me. It was like, something bad happened. So it's not only the passion, it was like, you didn't feel happy today, in a way, the way you were talking. So I don't know if it's connected, but going to the details, two things, the slides. The second one, when there's the title, the future or organizations, we'll try to put the text in a little bit better way, because it looks like you threw it there without thinking. It's not centered, it's not anchor to any element on the screen. So just make it that one a little bit better. And the next one, the next slide, the one with the groups connecting, it looks not as professional as the other ones. So it looks out of place because it's not like the text in the box, like there are 3 lines and the first one is always empty. So it looks like not, you didn't spend too much time on that specific one. And my last comment would be, almost at the end, you said my target is, or our target is, I don't know, 300,000 organizations, but you don't spend a single word saying, how are you going to reach your target? So since you had like 6 or 7 seconds left, I don't know, you can connect it to your humble brag, saying something like, and using my over 30 years of connections, I already have, 10,000 people connected. And, like Jesse asked you, and you said you already have 10 foundations. So give the audience a way to understand how you are going to reach your target. But yeah, compared to the first one, totally great. Congratulations.
Great, thank you very much, Massimo, as always. And moving on to Debbie. Debbie, I know you are in a similar kind of space. What did you get from Scott's pitch today, and how would you improve it?
Well, Scott, like I've seen all of them as well. And this is the first time that I really understood what you were doing. And so I think all the comments and the things you put together just made it so much clearer to me. It was great. I do agree that you sounded just, down in a voice type of, just not like down or tired today, but everything you said and everything you showed was very good. The one thing I would mention is that I have heard like LinkedIn groups that, are way down and nobody's using them, things like that. So I think that could be a good opportunity for what you're doing, because, as that's kind of going to the wayside, you're going to be offering something that's completely different, but also give the avenue for people to connect. So I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Great feedback as well, Debbie. And there is a clear thread going through the feedback here, Scott. And that is that your content now is pretty solid. Everybody seems to fully understand what this is all about. And this is, just one step in the iterations. And from now on, I think, it's basically time to just work on the delivery, because that is something that we know. We know you from the discussions before we actually start the session. There is a Scott in there that's not yet fully coming out. And this is the one area I think that we'll need to to work on a little bit more. Moving on, Julia. Julia, thanks for coming back. What kind of feedback do you have for Scott?
Good to be back here again. Scott, I think for me, like you already hear that you should keep up the energy. Like everybody's mentioning that, because it is very, very obvious to us. You will be surprised by how much do we know, how would you be feeling when you're sharing what you're sharing? We are listening and looking at you and looking at what you are sharing through your visual presentation. We know, we see all that and we hear you. So like simply, if you feel like you are really like your mood is down, like you don't have the energy level, and if you can't like keep it up, like in body language or in your vocal variety, if you can't do both, at least choose one. Would you put your energy into your body or into your voices or vocabulary, like I mentioned? Like do one, because if you lose both of them, we lost you. We are going to be listening to you. If you can't put energy into your voice, at least like keep moving and keep showing your energy through your body language, and it would really make a big impact on the whole presentation that you just give. So just I think it's the first time I heard you sharing, and I can really relate to the project and how it would operate. I could see it, but you should have used your convincing power, because you're sharing something that you are going to do and that you really believe in it. So convince that, make us listen, and like make us want to know more about what you're sharing. That's it for me.
Wow, thank you. Thank you so much, Julia. And if I can just add something here, Scott, that is, of all the times that you were presenting here, there is one that sticks out in my mind where your energy was higher, way, way higher than it was today or a few other times. And that is the one time you were standing. Yeah. So maybe you want to, if it's a really important kind of presentation or pitch, get into a spot somewhere where you can set yourself up that you can stand, because you will automatically breathe differently. You will be, standing more in a more open fashion, and of course, you will be able to move a little bit more once you stand up. So we might want to try that one the next time. Nathan,
yes.
Last
yes.
but definitely not least, and you have
Thank
a good 5 minutes or whatever you want to spend on Scott with your feedback today. Nathan, please.
Okay, thank you. I want to leave a little room for Scott to talk at the end as well. And pretty much everybody has said everything, so I'll just amplify a couple of the things that people said, such as what Michael said about keep layering the benefits on so that the group you're talking to starts thinking about all of the things that they can benefit from you. It's the what's in it for me, what's in it for us kind of language needs to be added. People have talked about your opening and they like the word struggling, and I like that as well. You can make this presentation even more personal if you happen to find out from your champion before you present to the group. If Jane is your champion and she says, oh, we're struggling with X and Y, then I'd start with that, right? Just go up and say, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We're here to help groups like you, blah, blah. Stop struggling with A and B. According to Jane, that's where you're, and we're here to help you with that. That's one thing. I'm in your opening, the way you went from the opening to your story, it didn't seem to connect really well for me. The personal story really connected. The part before that, I'm sure there's something you're trying to do there, but maybe a separate conversation, we can build that bridge. But I felt almost like that moving your opening slide to after your story would be better. Because that personal story of you, your wife, and you is very engaging, obviously, and you're alive, she's alive, everybody's happy about that. And then you'll grab our attention right in the heart more, and then you can go into that first slide possibly. Let's see. And I was going to say the same thing, but Claudio caught me on said it first, and that is just stand up. Yeah. If you're that's and according, just change your body, change your physiological, stand, sit, or something. So that's good. And to Jess's point about the number of groups, there's one thing in your presentation I don't believe, and I'm hesitant. I would be hesitant to use the number, and that is 100,000 registered groups by the end of the first year. That just sounds completely unbelievable to me. And maybe there's a way you're gonna do that. You're gonna scrape 99,000 of the sites out there, and then you only have to get really 10,000. I don't know what your plan is, but it just sounds like a totally unbelievable number. Mm-hmm. So, if you can justify it, I mean, one of the questions you'll get from an investor probably is, how are you going to get to 100,000 in 12 months? Okay, so lastly, the ask you already mentioned, and how is this offering going to make their group better, more effective, more powerful? And that message needs to be in there more. But come on back again when we're here in October, and I'm sure you're going to have some great stories to tell us then.
Okay.
Thanks, Scott.
Great. Thank you very much, Nathan, as always. And with that, I want to turn it over again to Scott, just to ask you, what did you feel today about your presentation? How happy are you with it on a scale from 1 to 5? And what kind of improvements do you plan on making for your next version?
Well, I was much happier today with it. I took all these notes, and I do understand the energy level. You know, I'm not concentrating on the conversational piece, and I you know, I'm working to improve that because I want to get the message out. But it struck me the comment about not using a lot of the past and bringing in more of the future, and that's a very good comment, because what I'm trying to do is show some of my past experiences or my knowledge and how that really relates to what the problem is. The problem of groups just not being relevant today and not being able to attract members because they don't have a vehicle to do that. They don't have a group to say, we're going to connect the younger groups to the ones that are typically a little older. You know, the service civic organizations just are struggling to keep younger members. And the idea that I have is this is going to do that. It's going to keep the connections going. It's going to target younger groups to be able to understand what's happening with other opportunities.
Awesome, awesome. And please do go back to the recording, Scott, and listen to yourself giving the pitch, and listen to yourself in these last few minutes. There is such a remarkable difference in your vocal pattern. You have more vocal variety. You naturally make pauses, and you're an interesting communicator. And to me, this is the kind of level that you want to take as a baseline for your presentations. If you can do that, plus all of the content and the structure that you already have, I think this will be an extremely valuable and winning pitch. And as Nathan already mentioned, this is our last session until October. And I would love to see you come back in October. We are going to continue on October 14. So that slot is already open if you want to book it, or any other slot after that, after October 14. And with that, I want to thank everybody for all of the time. This is already Pitch Zone number 57. We've been doing this for quite a while already, and we felt it is a time for a little break. It's actually a long break, 2.5 months or so, but I think it will help us all rejuvenate a little bit, come up with new ideas. I will for sure work a lot on the presenter zone in general, so that starting in October, we will have a platform that will be way more useful and valuable outside of just Pitch in the Zone. So stay tuned on that. And again, thank you all for the support that you're giving to our presenters week in and week out. And I look forward to seeing you again in October. Until then, bye-bye.